Yo, it's Kim, back with another video, and welcome back to another episode of a tarot story series in which I explain concepts of tarot in the form of storytelling. So this video is about the minor arcana, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to explain the minor arcana in the form of storytelling. So how I'm going to do that is I'm going to tell you a story. I'm going to tell you the story of the four suits or the four clans. Basically, it's just me sort of personifying the four elemental suits and then kind of just making it into a group of people, with distinct features, characteristics, personalities, and desires, that kind of thing. So it's kind of fun to, learn to kind of look at the minor arcana this way. So I'll be talking about the elements, the symbolism of all the elements. I'm going to talk about the power item of each clan, and the power items are essentially wands, swords, pentacles, and cups. And then I'm going to talk about the history of the elemental clan, their collective history. And their collective history has 10 chapters. So I'm pretty sure you've already guessed it's the numerological associations of the minor arcana from ace to 10. And obviously the numerological energies kind of play into each element differently, and it's kind of there's some different story dynamics within each suit, but this is sort of the general collective picture when it comes to numbers. And then later I'm probably going to make separate videos for each suit, and I'm going to talk about the numbers in more detail. But yeah, so that's basically the plan for this video. And before I begin, I just want to give a shout out to Mystical Cats Tarot by Lunia Weatherstone and Mickey Mueller, because I originally got the concept of sort of personifying the suits into clans. I got it from the Mystical Cats Tarot deck, because in the Mystical Cats Tarot, instead of suits, you have four clans. You have the Sky Clan, the Fire Clan, the Earth Clan, and the Sea Clan. So I kind of like the idea of sort of portraying the suits into clans, or in that deck, it's cat clans. And if you don't already know, I'm like a cat person. I actually had to restart this video because my cat was scratching on my door and I have to let him out, because originally I closed the door because I didn't want anyone to bug me when I filmed this video, but then my cat just didn't like to be in a closed room. But anyway, so yeah, I'm going to go ahead and get started. So for each clan, I'm going to pick a deck, and this deck will have that specific elemental suit that I feel like sort of represents the spirit of this element, or spirit of this suit. And also just another opportunity for me to show you some of my favorite decks. Okay, so without further ado, let's get started. Alright, so the first clan is the Fire Clan. And for the Fire Clan, I'm using the Tarot of the Secret Forest. I did a video on this a while ago. I'll leave the links below if you want to check it out, but this is a really, really, really gorgeous deck. And I picked this deck because the suit of wands, or the suit of fire from that deck has a great sense of adventure and, anticipation for the future. So I really, really like that idea. But yeah, so fire clans. Fire, if you look at their elemental affiliation. Fire is a pure energy that casts no shadow, so it's pure energy. And it's a pure energy that can be used to create, transform, and destroy. That's why focus is so important for the Fire Clan people, because if you don't harness that energy, everything's just gonna go berserker, everything's just gonna go everywhere, basically. And the Fire Clan, because it's all about manifestation, it's about creating something, of course they would choose wands as their power item, because wands is a tool of magic. It's a tool for manifesting their intention and their will, and then it kind of aligns with the element of fire really nicely. So the Fire Clan picked the wand to be their power item and to kind of express the spirit of their clan. And like I said, wands is all about manifestation, intention, and momentum. It's about results. Well, not about results, it's about envisioning that results and kind of going after it. Right? So this is one of the reasons why I like the Fire Clan so much, because they're always thinking about the future. They're always living for the future. Not in a negative way, but in a way that they anticipate something great. They want to achieve something great. Right? So you see that fox there kind of just There's this great sense of adventure. Okay, so this is my favorite part. As a clan, this is kind of their traits and their personality. So they're visionaries, they're very passionate, and they're very driven. They can be impatient sometimes because they want to get things done. They want things to happen. They want to create something. So often they're sort of restless with this fire energy that they can't get rid of. So, I think there's this idea that, when you're a genius, you kind of can't cope with the physical world because your mind is already in the future and your body is still sort of like not caught up. So that's kind of like what the Fire Clan is like. They're highly motivated, they're always divinely inspired, and they're themselves are sources of inspiration. That's why they are often really good leaders, because they really have that fire and then they can give this fire to others. And and being sources of inspiration, they can also inspire others and inspire their team and kind of lead their team towards a really grand, bright, brilliant future. And the core trait of fire, I would say, of the Fire Clan is that they always have this desire to expand. They want to get bigger, they want to create more, they want to be more of themselves. Because if you look at fire in nature, just fire in general, or lightning, maybe volcanoes, I think there's a little bit of earth in there too. But when you look at fire, the nature of fire is to expand. It consumes everything that's near. I mean, it can be destructive, but when it's focused and when it's sort of harnessed in a proper way, it can be a great source of warmth and life and energy. So, yeah, so that's the Fire Clan. The Fire Clan always wants to just tread into the future. They want to shine brighter. They want to be grander versions of themselves. Alright, so on to the Air Clan. And for the Air Clan, I chose Mystical Cast Tarot, just because in this deck, the Air Clan is actually called the Sky Clan. And I chose this deck, or the air suit in this deck to represent the air suit. um, because there's often a great sense of strife in the air suit, because the Air Clan, because of their great logic and rationality, they like to see things as black and white. They're sometimes a little bit of an extremist, and they kind of, kind of see things in absolution, but I'm getting ahead of myself. But yeah, as an element, air is obviously formless. So if you look at air in nature, so when it's still, it's air. But when it's mobile, when it's moving, it's wind. Right, so that's the emblem of the Sky Clan in Mystical Cats Tarot. So when it's wind, when it's moving, wind brings in scents from distant shores, or in the distance, right? So it brings in information, it brings in messages, it brings in sort of news, sort of like a stimulant almost, like into your senses. So that's why air is often associated with language and information, because of the messages that wind can bring in. And wind cannot be stopped, it cannot be contained. So just like an idea or a concept, it cannot be contained, because it's an abstract concept, kind of like air, kind of like the wind. So when it's air, when it's still, it's the atmosphere, right? It's sort of the mood of wherever you're at. It's the context in which you experience something, right? It's kind of like if you say, oh, the air changed. It's not necessarily something, the smell changed, it's the feeling of the environment changed. Yeah, so the Air Clan picked the sword as their power item, because Air Clan, they're people, they're all about intellect and logic and rationality, so they're very good problem solvers. And often maybe other clans they would come to the Air Clan when they need to do some serious problem solving, because the Air Clan is just so intellectual, they're so smart, so they're great problem solvers. Just like a sword is a great problem solving too. Maybe not in the modern context, but maybe in historical context, you can use a sword to cut down obstacles, you can use it to defend yourself and protect yourself, protect your companions, you can use it to attack. And it's really a great tool that allows you to accomplish many things, and it conveys your attitude, right? How you hold your sword. Is it resting in your sheath, or are you holding it in your hands, or is your hand touching it? It kind of conveys your attitude and your stance, right? So And also, it kind of shows that if you're a friend or a foe. And a sword also, in the world of a sword, everything is black and white. When you're in a sword fight, there's no uncertainty allowed, because if you're uncertain, you're probably going to lose the fight. So that's why, Air Clan, the Air Clan is often views world as black and white, because that's just kind of in their nature. So yeah, there's no room for hesitation when in a sword fight. There's no room for doubt. There's only precision and certainty. It's like 1 is 1, 2 is 2. 1 plus 1 is 2. That's it. It's like just that strict equation. There's no room for any gray area. So this is why, as a clan, they're they're a group of people who are very direct. They're very tactful. They're very composed. They're known for their intelligence and their mental sort of capabilities, and very, very black and white. They stick to the facts. They don't apologize for their gift of language. They know the power of language, and they are not afraid to use it. They're not bashful about using it. And this is why sometimes they can be really cold, and other clans might kind of see them as really stuck up people, since they don't really believe in the narratives of the heart. Because I think to them, heart is like that gray area, or it's not black and white. It's gray, it has different colors, it's something they can't rationalize, so they don't tend to go there. They like to stick to the facts. So that's why often, like, other clans would see them as very, like, really sharp and edgy. Like, their words can be so cutting sometimes, but often they get straight to the point, and sometimes it's exactly what people need. So, yeah, this is kind of the Air Clan, the traits of the Air Clan. Next is the Earth Clan, and for the Earth Clan, I picked the Steampunk Tarot, and I wanted to pick this deck because the metallic and sort of the copper-ish tone, it in a way that feels very urban. The metallic feeling, or the metallic sort of images. The machines in there kind of feel modern, right? It's technology, and then in real life, technology helps us accomplish many things in a practical way. But since it's steampunk, it's we're imagining the past. There's also this element of fantastical element to it. So I picked it because I thought it's really awesome. It's also one of my favorite decks, of course. But yeah, so when you look at Earth as an element, if you look at the clan's elemental affiliation, if you look at Earth just in nature, Earth is basically where we exist in. It's where we live on, right? It provides and it nurtures us. It provides us with resources. Earth is an entire ecosystem and network. So, one like Earth, like literally just the dirt and the earth. Obviously, we can plant stuff in it. Such an unpoetic way of saying it, but it nurtures us, right? Provides us with resources. Like pretty much everything we see is from Earth. Just different elements or materials transform into different forms. Oh god, that end rhyme is killing me. But anyway, and also as an ecosystem and network, it translates into connections and community and society, right? So that's why the Earth Clan people, they're very, very oriented, or very rooted in their community, and oriented by the people around them. Oriented by the people, what the heck? Oriented by the people around them. Does that even make sense? For some reason, like, it's just not making sense in my head. But anyway, so for the Earth Clan, they choose the pentacles or coins as their power item, which makes perfect sense because coins are currencies. They're deemed valuable by the society, by the society that they exist in, right? And coins are used to exchange. They're used to validate the worth of something in a practical and realistic way. So this obviously reflects the Earth Clan spirit, because they're all about what's tangible for them, like what the things that they can touch, right? It's like the crops that grow on land, the trees that they chop, the stones that they mine. Those are things that they can touch. They're actual things they can touch that have value. So of course they would create something such as coins, which is just it's just a way to validate the things that they deem valuable, right? So all right, as a clan, the earth people, they're very close to their roots. Emphasis on ancestry and community because they're rooted in the earth that they live on, right? So it's all about the collective experience or the people. So they're somewhat like a traditional bunch. They really emphasize the value of the history. They're really connected to their history. They believe that their individual identity is sort of contextualized in the context of who they are as a collective, as a bigger people, or as a community. So being validated by the community is very important for them, and having a place in their society also very important for them. And they also really care about mutually thriving and mutually supporting each other as a network. And because they're also because they're very rooted, very grounded, very rooted in their sort of traditional values, rooted in the values that they already have. They can be very stubborn sometimes. They can especially be stubborn to outsiders who don't understand their values. They can be like really, really like I'm thinking about Taurus. They can be really Taurus. They just want to stay in their comfort zone. They don't want to go anywhere. They want to sort of be in their established routines because this is what grounds them. This is what validates their value as their way, gives their way of life value. So they don't want to go anywhere. This is their established system or structure or society or way of life. Like, just don't ask them to go out there. It's like they're very stubborn like that. So that's the Earth Clan. Alright, so on to the Water Clan. And for the Water Clan, I picked the Happy Tarot. And I picked this tarot because it's kind of incongruent with the 3 other decks I picked. This is sort of very cartoonic and very whimsical, but I picked the Happy Tarot because I feel like often when it comes to cups, things like relationships, your emotional fulfillment, the matters of the heart, it's usually the little things that count, that count. And Happy Tarot is kind of like portrays these little things, and it's just a very sweet deck. It has a really great water energy to it, so I picked this deck. Alright, so water as an element, if you look at the water in nature, like sea, lakes, rivers, and oceans, ponds, or whatever, often you don't really know how deep it is. You don't know what's underneath, right? You can see into it to a certain degree, but you don't really know what's down there. So that's why it's so mysterious. That's why it's often associated with the subconscious, because of this depth, because of the unknown, because of the unseen. But just because it's unseen doesn't mean it's not there. So it's kind of like the subconscious. And just also kind of like emotions, because if you look at emotions in our psyche, it's not just something that passed through, right? Emotion has a very often very complicated and specific triggers in your memories and in who you are as a person, right? It's layered. It's maybe like a little bubble on the surface of your emotional water is actually there's this huge whale causing this wave, causing the fish to migrate, causing this shrimp to surface. If you know what I mean. It's a chain reaction, right? Emotions often go really deep into our psyche, into who we are. So that's why water is often linked to emotions, and that's why the Water Clan is... I'll get to that in a sec. I'll talk about their personalities in a sec. But yeah, the Water Clan chose the cups as their power item, because cups are like vessels. When you think about it, when you think about sharing a cup or sharing a drink with somebody, it's not just like, oh, here's a drink. Oh, you're thirsty. Here, drink something. It's more like you're sharing a moment with another person, with another human being. It's about the interaction that you guys are having. It's about the bond you're forging. And even if you're just like, oh, here, you're thirsty. I don't know you, but here's some water. It's a gesture of goodwill, right? It's a gesture of sharing something with, showing your goodwill and showing charity to even a stranger or to another person. It's also about the relationship that you're forming. It's never in vacuum. So a cup represents that bond, that relationship, and that's why the Water Clan, they're very, very social people. They just love a good party. They're always looking for meaningful relationships, and yeah, it's symbolic of that relationship and the memories that you have with another person or with a group of people or with other people. And as a clan, Like I said before, the water clan, they're very, very social, they're very emotionally oriented being. You know, it's really weird. I keep using the word oriented, but for some reason, like, it's just not making sense in my mind. Okay, anyway, so the water clan people loves to engage in meaningful relationships. Um, they're just an ocean of feelings. You know, they experience things so deeply and so vividly because they have a rich imagination, right? They have this depth in them that's sort of, you don't really know how deep it goes, and often there's lots of things going on, lots of creatures down there, lots of sea monsters and darkness and shadows. At the same time, there could be treasures, there could be spirits, there could be wonderful things down there. So you never really know what these like water clan people are thinking. That's why the air clan honestly just hates hanging out with them, because they don't understand the water clan people. The water clan people is just it's all about feeling. It's about what they're called to do at the moment. It's about the feeling that something gives to them. It's not about facts, it's about their emotional truths. So they're really abstract. They're very um they're really unpredictable because you don't really know what's underneath the surface of their emotions. Great imagination, and at the same time, like I said, because they could have a lot of treasures inside of them, so they could also be like highly reflective and then also very wise at the same time. But because of um, their all the feels that they have, they tend to be really like unpredictable. They can be it's like a pendulum. They have these really wise moments, but they could have like a really childish tantrum moment where they're just like rant about the world and stuff like that. So they're very dramatic, but um, like when they're high, they're at the highest of the highs. When they're low, they're at the lowest of the lows. So that's Water Clan, and I can speak deeply about this because I feel like I'm also one of the Water Clan tribe people. But yeah, and I totally didn't show you the cards, so here's a few cards. Yeah, see, it's about the relationships that you forge. It's about the little things. Okay. So that was a total fail. I actually spent like 20 minutes picking all the cards, but like I totally forgot about them, but oh well. Alright, so now that I talked about the four clans, the four elemental clans, I want to talk about the history of the clans and the 10 chapters within their clan history. So, just to remind you, this is the numerology portion. This is about the symbolic representations of each numbers and the associations that each number has. So, the history of the clans. So let's start with the ace. The aces are the emblems. The emblems. The ace represents the spirit or the essence of their clan. This represents the message that this clan wants to send out to the world. So this is just whoever they are as a group of people, and because it is chapter 1, it's about the first sort of the birth of their identity. This is when they first started. This is when they realize, oh, they're this group of people. They have come together to create something bigger. So this is their starting point, right? Kind of just them being who they are and coming together as a group of people. And then chapter 2, this is when they, after they sort of come together, after they realize, oh, okay, so this is who we are. Where do we want to go from here? So this is when they start making decisions about where they want to go. This is where they try to balance the different sort of perspectives and the conflicts within their, in terms of how they want to present themselves, how they want to pursue and realize their identity in a bigger way. So this is when they try to settle, right? This is when they decide, okay, this is better, let's go this way, or this is better, let's go this way, or this is where they try to decide where they want to go. And then once they've decided, okay, this is the road we're going to take, we're going to go with this plan. So it's time to expand. And this is chapter 3, expansion. This is when they're actively expanding. They kind of form into teams. They kind of start to recognize each other's talents within the clan. There's also sort of different individuals with the same elemental spirit. This is when they start to form teams. This is when they help each other. This is when they expand, where they seek to expand. This is where they become more of themselves. So they become even bigger, like an even bigger clan. And so they continue to expand, and they expand and expand, and they reach the milestone. So this is chapter 4. When they get to chapter 4, this is where they start to settle. So this is when they actually, they climb that mountain, they've expanded, they've done some challenging hard work, they really enjoyed it. This is when they sort of become established, with their routines and with structures in the society. This is where they sort of like start building houses and start building a town for themselves. Maybe before they were like travelers and pioneers. Now this is where they found a place, like the perfect place, and this is where they assembled all the materials, and this is where they started building and sort of finished building this sort of basic portion of their town or city. And like this is a milestone for them, obviously, like I said before, and they kind of stopped and paused, and they started to reflect on their values, and they started to look at this thing they created together, this place they created together, which reflects their values and reflects who they are as a group of people. But of course, nothing stays the same and everything changes. So this is when the catalyst comes in, and this is chapter 5 of their history. So the clan, this is a moment basically when the clan is forced to redefine themselves as a group of people. So it could be like maybe there's new unrest, or maybe they start to want something, or maybe there's actually a external factor that sort of disturbs their peace and disturbs their way of life and their structure. And they're really forced to sort of deal with this conflict and this challenge, and they're really forced to reconcile with that new energy that's coming in, and they basically everything is in chaos because they are really trying to deal with that new catalyst. So yeah, new energy coming in could be good, could be bad. It all depends on how they handle it. And just shuffling my cue cards here. And if they are successful, if they face this challenge, and if they sort of, found courage within themselves to deal with this challenge, they would have, in chapter 6, this is when they have flourished. This is when they've expanded even more. This is when they overcome the challenges. This is when they asserted themselves even more. This is when they become even bigger. They've really built on their society. They have sort of harnessed that new energy and then incorporated that new energy into their own pre-existing structure, and that made their society even more grand, or even more awesome, and even more successful. So this is when they build something even bigger, and they're able to not only support themselves, but they're big enough to also give to others or lend a hand to others. So this is, really like, this is just the spirit of the 6, right? Having enough for yourself, but also have enough to give to others. So I really like this turn of events so far. And then in chapter 7, they feel like the clans, they feel like something is missing. And so they're sort of overcome by this curiosity. And I feel like this is a different moment from, than the 5, because they've gone through the shitstorm in the 5. And I feel like in chapter 5, they were kind of passive. They didn't really know. It wasn't they didn't ask for it in a way. But in the 7, they're older and wiser. They've gone through so much. And 7 is all about proactively seeking new opportunities to expand. So they might actually be asking for changes to come in. They're asking for new energies to come in, to challenge them, to help them become better, to take them, so they can take their group of people to like a new place, to go to seek new opportunities and positive challenges, and actively doing that rather than passively receiving. So because they're really self-aware, because they asked for this change, because this is a change that's founded in their choice. In chapter 8, this is just full speed ahead. This is their chapter of conquest. This is when they're going full speed ahead. This is when they're just going forward. This is when they're evolving as a group of people. This is really, really, like, they're really evolving in a powerful and positive way. This is just like the pure spirit of the 8. It's just like, just imagine, like, it kind of reminds me of Odin's horse. I think it has 8 legs or something, or 6 maybe, I forgot. But just thinking like having that many legs, just charging forward at the same time. And it's just really awesome. And it's so awesome because this change, this momentum is created by the power of their choice. So they keep going forward, and they just keep going. And in chapter 9, they got to a point where they would they would take pause and kind of reflect on what they achieved, what they have done. Chapter 9 sort of feels like a chapter of abundance and gratitude. This is really when they look at, wow, I've accomplished this much. We've come this far as a group of people. Dreams really do come true. This is what we work for as a clan. This is we're almost there. We're almost at the final chapter of our group. They're like, yeah, we got this. It's awesome. We're gonna keep going. It's kind of a moment. It's a moment like that. And then when they get to chapter 10, which is the final chapter, this is the last chapter that concludes their endeavors as a clan. This is the chapter that sort of concludes their journey and seals the fate of their clan. So whatever they worked for, whatever they sort of pursued in the spirit of their element, whatever they have done that is sort of, the actions that they have taken, that is a direct reflection of who they are. All the things that they did added together, everything adds together is going to be reflected in chapter 10, in this final chapter of completion, where basically what happens when you put all that elemental energy together, and when you sort of stay true to who you are as you have done, and you got to this point where you look at how far you've come, and you look at this final and you're looking at this final chapter of this kind of conclusion of your identity, your pursuits of your identity in a way. So yeah, that's the final chapter. And so of course, like, because the 4 different elements or the 4 different clans, they are such different people. They have different, agendas and desires and different ways of doing things. The way their history sort of manifests, the way their chapters are written are obviously different. So I'm gonna make separate videos about that. But that's the collective picture. That's the general picture of how the sort of the numerology plays a part in the Minor Arcana. And yeah, so that's the history of the Minor Arcana of the 4 clans, and also the story of the 4 clans. I hope you enjoyed it. And as per usual, I've created a couple of exercises, but I've decided to just put in the blog post because it's, usually when I talked about it on video, I usually end up missing something, and I find that the instructions are usually more clear when I just put it in text. So the blog post is in the description box. There's a worksheet that comes with it, and there's this fun graph activity that you can do with the 4 elements, and I hope you enjoy that as well. And yeah, pretty much everything I mentioned in this video will be in the description box, so just make sure you check it out. And also, just a really quick announcement, my Etsy shop is open, so now I'm offering creative intuitive tarot readings. So basically what that is I kind of use techniques and methods or ways of storytelling, and I kind of deliver a tarot reading in that way. But yeah, it's really fun. Go check out my shop, and I think I'm gonna have a subscribers giveaway and also some sales coming up soon, so stay tuned for that. I'm really excited to be relaunching my shop because I worked so hard on it, and it's such just like my baby, or my other baby, my first baby is my Filofax, and then it's my shop. I can't choose. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next time in a tarot story series.